here, sir. And David on the end, please. And that smile. One more over here, sir. Yep, check. Ladies together. Oh, those smiles. Anna, that smile. Very nice. Anna, that smile again, Jamie. There you go.
He's going to come here. But we're only doing him, so I might pop in first, if that's okay. That's fine.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Because I've always been a fan of the John Wick world, both 1 and 2, and when I heard that Chad was looking for a female to play some kind of badass character, I didn't even know what, I was like, I'm the girl.
What we try to do in this one was diversity of action, so a lot of a little. And again, we try to characterize the action. So when we go to something we call the Riyadh, or Halle's sequence, Sophia's sequence with John Wick and her canine accomplices, I think that's something we're very, very proud of because of the work that went on behind it.
But there's some badass motorcycle scenes with Keanu, horse scenes with Keanu, I mean, knives.
There's a lot
There's
of
so many badass scenes. The look of the movie is beautiful. It's
pretty good.
Dan Louston was the DP, and it's a spectacle to see. I don't think you've seen an action movie look as beautiful as this movie.
I hope.
Is going to look.
Thank you.
From my point of view.
It's so nice because it sometimes doesn't happen, and so when it does, I'm really appreciative. Yeah, it's nice when you make something and it connects with the audience in the way that you hoped it would. Yeah. Go, yes, Charlize.
You can buy chemistry in a can.
You can fake it. It is highly fakeable, yeah. We do like each other, but I've had good chemistry with people I don't like very much.
Same, yeah. People who I actually
really don't like.
Really didn't like,
but it's a bonus that we do also like each other. It's our movie, so therefore it is by default the perfect summer movie.
We're living in really silly times right now, and things are so ridiculous, and I think a movie like this is just a nice release of relief of all of that.
Yes, it will make you enjoy your life for a few hours.
You'll be okay with the world.
Exactly.
While watching this.
Very briefly.
I'm really excited. It's a really fun movie. I think audiences will have a great time, and so I can't wait for everybody to finally see it. I mean, I do think it's an interesting sort of like addition to the genre. There's this huge like superhero conversation going on. I feel like in cinema nowadays, it's kind of our like modern pantheon, and like of them, like he's really a dark weirdo, and I mean he's meant to bring about the apocalypse, but like he doesn't want to, and it also is kind of a horror film, and it's got some gore to it, and also just some like psychological horrific things. Like the apocalypse is kind of no joke in this movie, and so I like that addition. It feels more it just feels very, very dark, and I think that's like a fun thing, a fun addition to the genre. I mean, you'll see, like, especially if you're a fan of the Hellboy comic specifically, you'll see almost direct from the page, like, shots. That, to me, is one of the most fun and interesting things about the movie, is that we, in some ways, really captured, like, Mignola's vision. And almost, there's some sequences where, shot for shot, like, it's almost the frames of the comic come to life. And that was something that that's something that I really like about the film, that I think is unique. Is that we have our own variations, our own things, but you really do see this comic kind of come to life on the page. So if you are a Hellboy fan, I think you're going to really enjoy that.
I couldn't even tell you how much fun we had. I mean, I think we have a great amount of humor in the script, and what we had behind the camera was also like pretty amazing. And I think it does. You do see that. Jamie Lee, she's obviously an icon, and she was one of the best people to be around with. Like, she actually, that family feeling that we had, she was actually in charge of all of us. She really brought us together, and we hang out a lot in the kitchen, and she would just tell us stories about everything, and she knows about everything. And she was a great support for me, she's always been like on my side, and I felt, very lucky to be not only with her, with everybody in the cast. We did have a great cast with us, and I feel actually very lucky because I got to play with every one of them. So I just, it was incredible. It's just people, artists that I've admired for, many years, and it was kind of scary, I guess, to be with them on set, and then I was actually surprised by, how nice and close we got. And we shot in Boston. It was my first time in Boston. It was freezing for a Cuban, especially, and it was just great. A lot of fun. The script was fun already, but also behind the cameras, we just had a great time. It was good to begin with. Since I read the script, I was surprised. You can't really put it down, and it was just very exciting. And of course, it's a murder mystery, and everyone's a suspect, and you don't know who killed who. And but it was just the humor and his vision in the film. The way he shot, the photography, the location, everything was like it was definitely new to me.
Well, every genre needs to have a fun twist to it. We're all experienced film goers. We've all enjoyed movies for a long time. So clearly, needing a fun, fresh idea of what a murder mystery could be was crucial, and obviously Ryan has figured that out, as he is a talented guy. It's fun to work with people that have had a lot of experience, and then Anna is the sort of moral center of this story, and what was so fun is to be able to work with somebody who's younger and newer. She's from Cuba. We have shared Cuba ties and friends, and it's just always exhilarating to meet somebody who's young and exciting, to watch them sort of take it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think I'm still in shock and trying to just realize what's really happening. So I had my wife was like, just soak it in, be in the moment, and understand that this is going to reach more people than you ever reached before. And I think that, for me, is the whole reason why I'm doing this, because it's meant so much to my life and what's happened in the past 17 years, and to know that we have a whole kind of brand new start to share the story is big. I mean, honestly, after they do it, I Can Only Imagine, and watching what they did and how God used that in such a huge way was so amazing. And I don't want them to, just tell my story how I knew they told I Can Only Imagine. And so I felt like that God used that just to be a part of just, I think, a forerunner of new films that are going to impact this community in a huge way.
For us, we feel like the right stories kind of just find us. We don't really go out looking for them. They just kind of fall in our lap and we fall in love with them. So when something moves our soul, we have to tell that story. So when we finished I Can Only Imagine, we were looking at a bunch of different stories, but somebody introduced us to Jeremy Camp, and we sat down and we started hearing his story, and it so profoundly moved us about the love story with him and his wife. And what a powerful woman his first wife, Melissa, who passed away from cancer, was. We just said, we have to tell that story. So I looked at John, I was like, this has to be our next movie. And so to see it kind of come to life has been a dream come true.
Yeah, it's an exciting partnership with Lionsgate. I Can Only Imagine was such a surprise and such a huge hit. And it really, it was just a heartland movie, and there were just fans all over the country for it. So we began to talk to Lionsgate about dreaming bigger for sort of inspirational and aspirational filmmaking. We need it. We need hope as a society and as a culture more than ever. Joe Drake and everyone at the company just so rallied around our vision and partnered with us. And Lionsgate's just an amazing company. They're an entrepreneurial company that lets you dream. And so they're letting us dream bigger about films like this, serving our audience, galvanizing our audience, and just telling stories, that uplift and inspire and entertain, and that are good for the whole family. And so we've got a whole sort of slate of them coming under a banner called Kingdom, and we're able to work with other filmmakers. So it's really like a dream come true. Like, we can't believe that a studio this powerful would partner with us in this way to launch something really special for an underserved audience. So it's going to be exciting to see what happens.
We had been screening it for people, and we knew that people seemed to like it, but we were incredibly nervous when we got there, and it was incredible. I mean, that crowd is like the best film crowd I've ever seen, and they were laughing the whole time, and yeah, it's incredibly rewarding. It's also just a relief, because you think you've made something that people are going to like, but you never know. And so it was, it was incredibly, it was an amazing experience, and we got the audience award, which was pretty cool too. They're both just really cool people and really creative people, and really just they approach things in a very similar way, strangely. They have a lot in common, which you wouldn't really think. But they were both producers, and they both also took it upon themselves to create their own chemistry, manufacture their own chemistry. But they're both just funny, talented actors. You think of Seth as more comedy and Charlize as more drama, but the sort of juxtaposition of the two of them and the interaction between the two of them really brought out the other side of each of them. Oh my God, well, for us, we were always trying to make a movie that harkened back to movies of the 80s, just like really quality comedy, like a romantic comedy that was both romantic and funny, and I find a lot of times romantic comedies are neither, and I think that for us, we just want to make a really feel-good, happy, and very, very funny film-going experience, and I hope we were able to accomplish it. I think people will like it.
So I've had this idea for about 10 years. I've been cooking this up, and I don't know, it finally just something clicked about it, and then we got these amazing actors together, and Lionsgate stepped up, and MRC, and so suddenly we were making it. But I've had the idea for a long while. It was so cool. So we shot a lot of the movie in this big, beautiful house that's sort of the main murder mystery house in the movie. And the basement was like the green room for the cast, but it was just like a little basement. It was like a game room. So I would go down there, and there were basically like the best actors working today, just all gathered around a pool table, just like sharing war stories. And I was like, I don't want to go back upstairs and work. I want to sit down here and hear all these incredible things they said. It was a blast. Everybody had a lot of fun. Jamie Lee Curtis, she's the absolute best. I obviously grew up watching her in movies that meant so much to me when I was younger, True Lies and Fish Called Wanda, and I mean, Trading Places, you name it. She is such an amazing, kind person, and her talent and her comic timing, everything about her performance is just amazing. And Anna, I am so excited for people to see her in this movie. She really kind of carries the film, and she's extraordinary.